time to turn it over to my awesome guest, Amy Lanci, who's a body empowerment coach.
Yes.
Welcome to Bulletproof Evolution.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah.
This is exciting. I'm excited. This is the camera I'm supposed to look at. I'm excited.
One of these two over here. That one's mine, I know that.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Well, I should know that. I'm the one who set them up. So,
I believe you. I have no. Yeah.
You're a body empowerment coach. So, what would you say that you're most passionate about that kind of led you into doing this type of work?
I am most passionate about women loving the bodies they have now and not the ones they're waiting for, as opposed to hiding behind their accomplishments, hiding behind their work, hiding behind their title, hiding behind a certain box or image that they put themselves in. And they have to feel like they have to be perfect within that box, and they have to look a certain way to be in that box. And I'm like, damn it, you just need to be you.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you.
I think I tend to hide behind certain images.
Mm-hmm.
One of my fears is a fear of rejection, so
Yes.
to play myself off in a certain way. And I'm challenging myself by doing this show, so
I
fun.
get that. I get it.
So what would you say is your purpose in doing your work, or your purpose, your life purpose?
My life purpose, I feel, is to allow women to be seen as 100% themselves in a 360-degree view. Like, be completely real and not apologetic for the way they live their lives and for the way that they are. Because life is too short, and when you live a life where you're living for validation, that's not really a life. That's living for other people. Mm. And that way you're living life for them and not for yourself.
Mm. Mm-hmm. I like that.
Thank you.
Another one that I'm learning. So, do you have any guilty pleasures?
Do I have any guilty pleasures? Yes, I do.
I have to humanize you here, okay?
I love watching anime. Lately, I've been watching Ranma 1/2, which is about a man who turns into a girl when he gets into cold water and turns back into a man when he gets hot water splashed on him. So, yes, I do like watching anime and manga, and I'm 33 years old. So, yes, that is a guilty pleasure of mine.
Nice. Very cool.
Yes, and I love chocolate. I don't know if that really counts as a guilty pleasure. I'm over my food issues, so I don't really call it a guilty pleasure, but a lot of people would call that a guilty pleasure, so.
I was gonna say, can you be guilty when eating chocolate? Like, that's when I'm in my happy, like,
right?
Chocolate.
I know. I think it's more like the after effect, when people are like, oh, I ate chocolate, I've been so bad. I'm like, oh, please.
Oh,
like,
no, it's good for you. Well, dark chocolate is.
Dark chocolate is really great for you.
You know, white chocolate isn't even really
not really even chocolate. No, that's just the cocoa butter, right?
Yeah.
So.
And then milk chocolate just has a lot of sugar in it. So.
Yes, it's true. Even though I do like milk chocolate sometimes, but
yeah. Still, there's magnesium and calcium in it. I mean, we need that.
Yes,
right?
And theobromine, that makes you feel better, and all that jazz. So.
There's nothing guilty about
No, I refuse to feel guilty about that.
So, what does a body empowerment coach do?
Well, for me, I listen to women talk about what they do and do not like about their body, and I listen to what they are actually not saying. What they're saying, but what they're not saying. And I point that out, and that helps to kind of decode what's at the root of their body image. Like, for instance, I was talking to a girl who was telling me how she loves her body, she's beautiful, but she didn't always feel that way. And I was like, okay, tell me more. Like, why do you think that was why you felt? And she said, oh, because of society and culture. I was like, okay, well, go on. So she talks about, like, you know, wanting to covet certain features and that reason, that ability, that need to be liked. I was like, okay, wait. You said need to be liked. Where was that from? And she was like, oh, I grew up with a strict mom. And I'm like, okay, do you understand? This is not just society and culture. Even though society and culture is like is how I kind of equate it is that when, like, we're little boats on the ocean, right? And society and culture, all the pressure in the media is like the giant wave that's constantly getting us to splash back and forth. But if we have that anchor down, then we should be, you know, somewhat stable, right? We're being knocked around, but we're in the same place. But when we don't have that anchor down, when we don't know what that anchor actually is, then we are just caught in the undertow of everything.
Oh, that's a really cool analogy.
Thank you.
Because I think we all have the quote-unquote anchor, depending on what it is. It could be body image, it could be something else, but money or whatever. That's really interesting. So you spend, your time listening to women talk about their bodies, but you said you're listening to what they're not saying. So I'm like trying to think of something, and it's not working. So.
Another thing, there was another lady I was talking to, and I was like, okay, tell me all the things you don't like about your body. And she said, well, ugly, flabby. She said a few more unkind words, and then she was like, wait a second, I don't trust my body. And it turned out because she had survived cancer, because her body had let her down at some point, that somewhere deep inside she felt like her body had betrayed her.
Oh, that's so fun. We were just saying, literally, while Brittany's video was playing, that because I was talking about I have eczema on my back. My back's really itchy right now. We're being rubbing myself on the chair right now. And I passed a comment like, oh, well, you know what? It just means my body's working. Because if there was something really wrong, I wouldn't get eczema. That's, my body's way of trying to get something bad out. So that's funny that
we talk about this now.
Who believe that, they get sick and that it's, I mean, it's easy to believe that it's a bad thing. But
it just kind of reminds you that even when you get over something as brutal as cancer, it does. Even though you're in remission, you still feel like that fear of my body's gonna let me down again. Oh, the cancer can always come back. And I actually have a friend who runs an organization that is all about cancer survivors, and she talks all about that fear. And it's an amazing organization. It's called Well Again. Hi, Anne. but yeah, it's basically she just talks about the reality of that once you go through something like that, it's hard to get over that fear. It's hard to gain that trust back with your body.
I can see that. So you said something earlier about how women are waiting for the bodies that they want to have. But how often do you see women, I'm going to say post-pregnancy, are, maybe feeling not so hot about their body?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
And they want that body, the teenage body back.
Yeah, no, I would say the majority of women, unless they are the kind of women who do bounce back, and I do have known a few who have bounced back, that, they're like, oh, okay, I'm fine, it doesn't bother me. But the majority of women, their bodies are just different. Even when they don't have any extra weight on them, their bodies just are shaped differently. The weight comes on differently. They just move differently, and they just have to get used to their bodies all over again. So it's definitely unfortunately a thing where we look at celebrities and we're like, oh, that person just had a baby 3 weeks ago. Oh wow, they're in that size 00 dress. Like, I should look exactly like that, except that I am a mess and I can't even get out of the house without like crying, because those postpartum hormones and it's overwhelming. So
I have yet to experience any of that.
So I'm being real here. So that's something that not everyone has it, but if you do have it, it's okay. It's perfectly fine. It's normal. So just in case that happens, I just want you to know that.
So how did you get into this? What's your story? How did Amy Lanci become a body empowerment coach?
Okay, so this is a story. So
we got time.
Okay, good. Okay, so when I was 8 years old, my friend's mom pointed and laughed at me in the middle of the schoolyard because I started to grow this little pot belly. And so she felt the need to point and laugh at me, saying I wasn't skinny anymore. And in that moment, I was horrified and I was shocked and I was embarrassed. And really, in hindsight, I was like, I probably thought internally, maybe she's right. Maybe I do deserve to be laughed at. And so for the next 16 years, I looked for validation from everyone else, like my friends, my family. I was trying to be the dutiful daughter and get all straight A's, and being the really great friend that was always there. And I even bought things for my friends' siblings. Like I bought them toys so they would like me. And it was such a toll on my self-esteem because I was living for that validation like we were talking before. And at the same time, my weight went up and down, and I kept looking at the pretty, skinny girls who had boyfriends lined up for them, and I had yet to have a long-term relationship. Everyone else I dated was like 2 to 4 weeks long, and that was it. And they were not quality guys, I want to say. And I was like, okay, well, I want to find that one true love, but I feel like he's not going to notice me until I'm a size 6 or whatever at the time. Like I was convinced that I was not going to find Mr. Right until I lost weight. That was just what I told myself, because losing weight would have been the dream. Like it was going to be my ticket to confidence, my ticket to acceptance, my ticket to being the real me, my ticket for finding love. And I was so convinced of this for so long. And finally, when I was 24 years old, I was up late at night in the dark in my room, just talking on the internet, right, to my friends on a Friday night. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, I am here waiting for Mr. Right, and he's not going to know I'm here unless I do something about it. And, you know, and keep in mind, at the time, I was over 200 pounds, too. So I obviously was not at my ideal weight. And so I was like, well, I'm just gonna do something about it. I got out of my own box for that 1 second, and I signed up for an online dating site, and I found Mr. Right 3 months later. And keep in mind, I was still over 200 pounds when I had that happen. So to fall in love with Mr. Right when I was over 200 pounds just completely just dismantled that old belief that like I had to be a certain size to find Mr. Right. So that was step number 1. And then step number 2 kind of came with, I was diagnosed with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which basically meant that because of my lifestyle habits, there's 2 ways to accumulate fat, right? There's on your tummy, right, or on your hips, and there's also internally on your organs, right? And so however way I was treating myself, there was fat accumulating on my liver. And so it was one of those things where my life was not in danger, but they did say if I didn't do anything 10 years from now, I would have gotten cirrhosis of the liver. So it was high time where I was, I found Mr. Right. I found someone I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. I had relatives that were really sick in the past, and I was like, okay, no, we gotta like just get rolling on this whole self-care thing. So I learned how to eat well. I exercised. I lost another 30 pounds, and my liver went back to normal. We got married, and and things were great. But then I laxed on the exercise for a bit, and I had a scare with pre-diabetes for a little bit. And keep in mind, I was still in my 20s. I was 27 when this happened. And at that point, I had a meltdown. I had a breakdown. And my poor new husband was like trying to gather me from the ground. And all I was like, oh my gosh, my body is just letting me down over and over and over again. And at that moment, I was like, okay, fine. We're going to put all the cards on the table. We're going to just lose the last of this weight, because I think I had another 20 to lose at that point. We're going to lose the last of this weight. We're going to just do everything we can. I don't care what it is. So I counted calories. I ate barely anything. I exercised 2 to 4 times a day. I did lose the last 20 pounds, but
2 to 4 times a day.
I went a little crazy there.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So yeah, the pre-diabetes scare went away. And I was at the fittest I had ever been. Like I was size 4. I had run like 3 5Ks, and that's a big deal for me because I'm not a runner at all.
Yeah.
But here I was, while everyone else was like, "Oh my gosh, Amy, you are so inspirational. I just wish I had your drive. Like you're just awesome." And inside, all I kept thinking was, I have another 10 pounds to lose, because all I could see was whatever little tummy I had. And because of that, I struggled with my calorie counting, because it got to a point where I wanted to know how many calories were in a cup of baby carrots. Like I stressed out about that. Like, how many calories is in here? And I started getting injuries. I started getting shin splints and heel spurs, and I just couldn't exercise as much as I wanted to. And I think to some extent I had some adrenal fatigue because I was essentially sleeping 4 to 5 hours a night just so I can exercise like at 4 in the mornings. So
Wow.
it was to the extreme, like I said. And at that time when I was slowing down and I was maintaining my weight and I was the healthiest I'd ever been, my husband and I decided to have a child, right? We were like, well, we're ready. We had been married for 3 years at this point. And so I got pregnant, and little did I, and keep in mind, I did not expect this at all, and this is not typical. But when I was pregnant with my daughter, that was when I healed my food and body image issues. That was when I actually loved my body the most. Like, I know, I see their face right there. Okay, first of all, I have to admit, I was one of those annoying pregnant ladies. They're like, I love being pregnant. And I had a very mild pregnancy, a little bit of nausea in the beginning, but very mild pregnancy. But it was so magical because, for once, this tummy of mine was not something that was a curse. It was like, it was bringing this life into this world, and I had social proof like every single day because this baby moved, quite frequently. And it was proof that I did not lose the genetic lottery, and my body was not broken. So, and I had to remember that after I had my daughter, because I managed to have a non-medicated birth with her, and that was really rough. But
Imagine?
Yes, the endorphin rush of having her though at the end was amazing. Like it was just such a beautiful moment. I wouldn't have done it any other way. And at the same time, postpartum was a little hard, and I did keep looking at my body saying like, okay, I have 20 pounds more on me than I would have liked than my pre-pregnancy days, and it was hard to cope with it because people knew me as the weight loss person, right? And I was a health coach. I was a health coach that was helping moms lose weight because I, as a mom, knew the challenges of being a mom. And so, I helped moms lose weight. And some of the advice I gave, like some lost 4 pounds in a week, just from one piece of advice I gave them. And that was great to just see their confidence go soaring. But at the same time, while I was kind of going through my own body image issues again, I also saw that the women I helped also had their own body image issues. Like they were coming to me saying, hey, Amy, what do I do about my chicken wings? Hey, Amy, what do I do to get that six pack? Hey, Amy, what do I do about belly bloat? And in my head, I kept thinking, I really don't care if you have flabby arms, and I really don't care how big your waist or how small it is. I really don't care. Like the whole point of me going in this direction was because I had gone through so much personal development over this time period of believing in my body once again, like falling in love, and just trying to take care of myself. It was such a journey, and that's what I really wanted for these women. And yet here I was kind of, in a way, I was trying to help them, but then I was also perpetuating it in a way too, because I wasn't giving them anywhere else to go after they needed a little pep talk, right? And so afterwards, I was like, you know what? We're just gonna go in a different direction and do body empowerment because for me, I look at women like Queen Latifah, who some people might say, oh, she might need to lose weight, and I'm like, no, she's gorgeous. Like I don't care. Like, and she's just rocking it all over the place. And I think it doesn't matter what size you're at or what you look like, as long as you are confident in who you are and realize that your body is always working with you, then you can own the world, seriously. And it was also one of those things that on my weight loss journey, before I went really gung-ho at the end, at some point I was thinking about the old me, like my before picture me, and this was in the middle of the weight loss journey, and I kept thinking, that girl that I was, that girl that I still am, she doesn't deserve my insults. She doesn't she deserved nothing but respect and trust in me because she went through so much for me to get here, and the least I can do is be there for her. And whether I like it or not, she is always there for me, and as soon as I can make peace with that, then I'm whole. Because I see so many people who go through weight loss and they have the before and after picture, and when they're in the after picture stage, they look at the before picture and they're like, oh, look at sad, pitiful me. I'm never gonna be her again. Like, I don't even recognize that girl. And I'm like, why are you being so mean to yourself?
Yeah.
I don't understand. And so, and that's where the vicious cycle continues. Like, let's say life happens and they gain a little bit of weight and they go back into like, oh, well, I'm going to be that girl again. It's like, well, if you just accepted that girl in the first place, then you wouldn't be in this vicious cycle and you'd be prepared for any situation. So
And how much easier would it be to maintain, or even not even maintain, but get to that wanted look?
Yes.
If you actually took pride in your body.
yes.
So, for those of you watching, I'm kind of like, oh, this is such a great conversation, because it's something that I think so many women, and I think there are some men out there too, who experience that, you know, they hate themselves because
Yes.
of the way that they look. And I know I went through it as a teenager. Like, I always wore jackets to school because I gained my weight around my midriff, and I have no bums, so I had the little muffin top thing going on, so I'd always wear a jacket because I didn't want people to see that I had this.
Yeah.
And I know, I mean, just the list goes on of all the women that I hear talking negatively about their bodies. So please, women, like, if you're watching this, share this video. This is really, really powerful stuff here.
Yay!
Learning
It
to
is. Thank you.
ultimately love yourself.
Yes, ultimately love yourself.
And everything will fall into place. Like,
It
it
will.
seems like that's what happened with you. Like, you had that moment where you're like, okay, I'm not going to find Mr. Right if I'm just sitting here in my room. And you put yourself out there, and then next thing you know, you find Mr. Right, and then you find out that you need to take better care of your body, and it all just kind of
came full circle. And also my baby, and we decided that we were going to keep her gender a surprise from us until she was born. And so when she was born, we found out she was a girl, and so it seemed like life came even more full circle having a little girl who is a lot like me personality-wise, and she wants to do everything I do. So it just seems like I have a chance to give her the tools that I wish I would have had when I was her age.
How old is she now?
She's 3 now.
Oh, bless. They're so cute. They start
She's
talking,
really
and they can't really say the words correctly.
I know, and it's so cute. That little
nod and
voice.
smile.
Yes, and everything is so new, and she's curious about everything. It's a great age, yeah.
So what's your vision for being a body empowerment coach?
My vision is to be able to speak on stages to women, to be able to have these group discussions where we can be honest and we can be vulnerable about the certain struggles that we have. And really what sets body empowerment differently from body positivity is body positivity talks about being positive with your body. Body empowerment talks, for me, what I develop is that you need to be positive about your body, but you also need to develop that self-care routine along with it, because there's always the argument of, do you take care of your body so you like your body more, or do you like your body so that you feel like you deserve to take care of it? And it's really the chicken waddle. You have to go between the two. You have to be like, okay, I'm going to go take that bubble bath and feel better about myself, and then I'm going to go like be positively thinking about how my body looks, and then I'm going to go do this other thing for myself, and then go back and forth. It's not about one or the other. You have to do both.
Oh, okay. No, I'm like sitting here just kind of like, because I catch myself doing that. I'm like, oh, am I caring about myself if I do this? Am I not caring about myself if I don't do it? Do I need to do it?
Yes.
And then it comes this like weird cycle of like, I don't know what I'm doing.
No, and there's no right way of doing it. It's just, you just have to start with one, and you just have to make sure you skip over to the other one.
Yeah.
It's like when I went gung-ho with the weight loss, I did the self-care thing, but it was not out of self-love. It was out of self-hate. So, and that's why things went out of balance, as opposed to before that when I took my time losing those first 30 pounds, it was all about like falling in love, realizing that I deserve to do these things, I'm worthy of doing these things, and I'm taking care of myself, but I'm thinking really positively about myself, and then until the very end when it was like, we gotta put everything on the table, and I went crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't mean everyone that does this is crazy. I'm just saying that for myself, I went crazy in case anyone's like, she just offended me. Like, okay, well.
Well, if you feel like she offended you, there's a lesson for you in that. So.
Yeah.
Why did you get offended by it?
Yeah. Did I hit a nerve? Did
I?
Yeah. Did I?
I hope you did. I hope there's women out there going, ooh, I don't know if I like what she just said.
No, I know.
Maybe there's something to think about now.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you. Okay, I'm not. And in that case, I hope that I made you think. There you go.
Yeah. So, what would you say? I feel like we kind of already talked about it a little bit, but I want to hear it again. What would you say is the most important part of reaching that empowered body?
The most important part. Let's see. The most important part is knowing that you are worthy, and that it's not so much a matter of, hey, I'm going to look in the mirror and I'm going to say 20 times how beautiful I am. Even though I know affirmations are awesome, they are great. But if you believe in them. And the thing is, you have to believe in them, and that belief has to come deep inside. Unfortunately, the stuff that's inside is all the other stuff you grew up with. And so what really is most important is we have to acknowledge that it is society and pressure that is like the overarching thing. But to feel empowered in your body is an individual thing that you can literally start working on this on your own, like right now, as opposed to, because society takes a long time to change, right? And society is us. So really, if you think about it on an individual level, if we work on this on our own and we all did this, then we change society as a whole while we get the short-term and long-term results.
Okay. Nice. So what type of things are you working on right now? I know you've got an event coming up.
I have a big event coming up and a program coming up. So the event, I'm going to talk about the event first. So should I look at the camera or should I look at you?
Whatever you feel comfortable
Whatever
with.
I feel comfortable with. Okay, so everyone, if you're in the San Diego area or really the Southern California area, I'd like you to come to my event called Body and Soul, The Empowered Woman. It's this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. in Mission Valley at the DoubleTree Hotel Circle somewhere, but Mission Valley essentially. And it's essentially going to be an event where it's a half-day wellness event, essentially. I will be speaking on body image. My friend will be talking about spirituality and the new midlife. We'll also have people talking about profit strategy and styling, and we're even going to have special demos for VIP ticket holders for fitness and nutrition demos, and wellness exhibitors to kind of just peruse around and have fun. And we're even going to have a nonprofit there to give us free chair massages, so that's going to be fun. Ooh. Yay! So, and it's just, essentially this event is for the woman who is everywhere and everything to everyone else, but needs her cup to be filled. And so this is your chance to get your cup filled. So
I love that. That's one of those sayings or analogies, filling your cup before you pour into others.
Yes.
Yes.
As we get older, because our bodies cannot go at that same pace anymore. Finally, our body's like, we've been tired this entire time. We just are finally just exhausted. we can't keep going. And really, it's just more about we were running away from something, and it finally catches up with us. So, so please come to Body and Soul. The link is bodysoulsd.eventbrite.com. So
yeah,
I'd
and
love to see you there.
I'll post a link to the event in this thread as well, so you guys can check that out. That sounds really cool.
Yay!
Again, it's empowering women,
yes.
And I think I hear a little bit of wealth consciousness in there
yes,
as well.
Yes, definitely. There's wealth consciousness in there. There's health consciousness. There's spirituality consciousness. So it's going to hit on all kinds of different points. So I'm excited.
Sorry.
No, you're
to
fine.
interrupt you. Is this a women's only event?
It is.
Okay.
It is. I mean, okay, technically we have like 1 or 2 male exhibitors, but other than that, it's a women's only event.
The attendees.
The attendees are women.
For women.
Mhm.
Love that. Show us the ladies some lovin'.
Some loving, and that way you could potentially find your other soul sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I could mention one more program that I am putting out, that'd be great. So some of you may know this, some of you may not know this. You probably don't know this because I'm new to you. But I've had a podcast for the last 2 years, and now I'm finally putting together a beta program as to help women, or actually it doesn't have to be women, help people start their own podcasts. It's going to be a 6-week program. I'm just taking 10 people. I have a few takers. But if you ever want to start your own podcast, let me know. I would love to see if you would be a good fit. And the reason why I'm doing this kind of fits with body empowerment is because I was talking earlier, like I want you to be seen in a 360 degree view. And what better ways to do that than your own show? So let me know.
I know what that's like.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So if anyone wants to get in contact with you, either for the program with the podcast or for body empowerment, how can they reach you?
So they can email me at amy@amylanci.com. So that's AMY@AMYLANCI.com. Or you can find me on my Facebook page at facebook.com/AmyLanci. Or you can go find me on Instagram at Amy Lanci and Twitter at Amy Lanci. It's very simple. I'm not a complicated person. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I don't really tweet, but you can find me on Twitter. Email is probably best, and you can look at my website at www.amylanci.com.
Yes.
Thank you.
I
I'm like, what is this?
earlier today. So amylanci.com, Instagram, Amy Lanci, Facebook, Amy Lanci, the Empowered Coach, I think.
Amy Lanci, Body Empowerment Coach, yeah.
Yes, and then your email.
Yes.
amylanci.com.
Mhm.
Best one's Twitter, you're there, but not
Yeah, kind of not really.
I think I have a Twitter account. I literally don't use it. So, thank you so much.
No, thank you. This is so fun.